Welcome to Deadly Dames, and this is another review and Arrow video. So it's been quite a while since I've actually been able to do a review, just sort of due to one thing or another. Obviously, you know, I started a new job and then I caught a deadly strain of Comic-Con cold, which Claire's now up in bed suffering with. But last night I actually managed to get time to watch Shock Treatment. Now, it's been years since I've watched Shock Treatment, and I do remember not liking it, and the main reason for it was because I bought it in a pack that had Rocky Horror Picture Show, then Shock Treatment, so I basically watched it directly after Rocky Horror. And although after rewatching this, I do still think it's not as good as Rocky Horror Picture Show, I actually enjoyed this a lot more watching it again. The main reason for it is I haven't seen Rocky Horror Picture Show in a while, so I wasn't watching it straight after that one, and I went into this film thinking it was something completely different that just happened to have the same characters from Rocky Horror in it, so Janet and Brad. But I did enjoy it a lot more, and to be honest, I actually think it was way ahead of its time, because it's all about reality TV and how a nobody will think they've become somebody because suddenly everybody's chanting their name, and how that doesn't last very long. Like, you can get dropped like a hot tatty. And I actually thought the sound, like the songs, which are playing in the background at the moment, but the songs were actually really good in this, and it's weird because I don't seem to remember liking them that much. But basically, Shock Treatment, without spoiling it too much, is about Brad and Janet from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and their marriage has become a little bit boring, and they go on a talk show. Well, it's like a daytime or nighttime TV show. I'm not really sure which. The good thing about this is you actually aren't sure what time it's set. I kind of like that. But they go on this show which is all about sort of saving marriages, but they deem that Brad is needs to be locked up, and that Janet needs to be taught to be loved again. But there's a twist to it, and I don't think I'm going to ruin anything by saying the producer is in love with Janet, and she's trying to make her forget about Brad, so that she wants him. And it's just basically mentalness from there. The whole way through this, I actually kept looking at the guy that was playing. I can't remember what the character was called, but he's like the German guy in it. I kept looking at him thinking, why does he look so familiar? But it's actually Dame Edna. But there's so many faces in this that you recognise and think, geez, I mean, Ruby Wax in this. How young is Ruby Wax in this movie? And Rick Mail, who I absolutely love, is in this. Don't get me wrong, he's not a singer, but he's still like memorable in it. And it's got all your sort of favourites. I know there's people that are missing, like Tim Curry, and I think a lot of folk didn't like that. Like, why bring back some and not all? Well, at the end of the day, maybe they didn't want to do it, or they just weren't available to do it at the time. But I still really like it. I understand a lot of people didn't like that it wasn't Susan Sarandon and geez, I can't remember the name of the guy that played Brad. Barry. Is it Barry Bostwick? Oh, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I forgot the name of him. But I know they didn't like that they didn't come back. But to be fair, I actually really like Jessica Harper. I think she's a really good actress. She's excellent in Suspiria, and she's excellent in Phantom of Paradise. And I thought they did quite a good job as Brad and Janet. They just kind of played a different version of Brad and Janet. And the guy who played Brad, Cliff DeYoung, again, the whole way through it, I kept thinking I recognise him, and it's because he's the dad from Flight of the Navigator. He's in hundreds of things. He plays a dad in a lot of things, but he's in loads and loads of stuff. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed watching Shock Treatment again, and Arrow's done a really good job at remastering it. The picture quality is beautiful, and the sound quality is beautiful. You'll see it in my pickup video, but yes, I did pick up the other one. The main reason for it, because I think it's a bit cheeky that Arrow did this, that they actually released two different editions of pretty much the same things. Just one's Nation edition and the other one's Cosmo edition. Is it Nation edition? Yeah, I'm sure it is. Which is also the characters from the movie that Richard O'Brien and Patricia Quinn play. And there's a really good interview in this with Patricia Quinn. She's clearly either mental or drunk, but it was a lot of fun watching it. She's definitely charismatic, put it that way. But yeah, I think it was a bit cheeky that they released two editions, but my plan was always to get both. But I just kind of thought that it wouldn't sell out, so I would pick it up in like an Arrow sale or something later on. But I got my Arrow newsletter through, and both the shock treatments had completely sold out. So I mean, this movie obviously has like a massive cult following that I wasn't aware of. And then when you watched like a couple of things on this, clearly a lot of people love it. And definitely after rewatching it with a different frame of mind, I mean, I certainly wouldn't watch this directly after Rocky Horror Picture Show. And if it's your first time watching it, don't do that, because they're two completely different feel movies. Rocky Horror is a surreal, obviously like a, I can't even describe it, but it's like a very surreal movie, very dark, and they play that kind of gothic Rocky Horror, whereas this is played very vibrant and bright and very plastic and very like all American, taking the mickey out of TV and adverts and like the all American lifestyle, apple pie and all that. And that's kind of what this movie is, and they're very contrasting to each other. And I definitely would not watch it straight after Rocky Horror Picture Show. I would just kind of watch it on its own and judge it for what it is, and sort of think that it just happens to have the same characters in it. Just because it's got the same characters in it doesn't mean it's going to have the same feel as the other film. I can't even remember where I was going with that point. I went off on a tangent. But yeah, I really enjoyed rewatching it again. I do think it's cheeky that Arrow released two like that. And the only reason I picked this one up is because my other one got a bit bashed in the post. And I do kind of wish I'd said to Arrow about it, but too late now, I haven't done it. So when I was out yesterday in Glasgow, I seen that there was the last one in FOP, and I thought, oh, it's not that expensive, I'll just get it. I know, I fell into the Arrow trap and did exactly what they wanted. But you know in the last video I said that I wasn't that impressed by it. I had a proper look at what they have, so yes, I agree, the box set is pretty pants. And that's the reason why it's bending and things, because it's just a little flimsy cardboard. But the actual extras are actually not as bad as I initially thought, because I watched a lot of them last night, and the featurettes, like the Let's Rock and Roll, Shock Treatment, Super Score, things like that, they're actually pretty good, and I watched all of them last night. The little booklet I've not had a proper chance to look at, but I'm sure it's as good as all the Arrow ones are. This is a Denton poster. I can't fold it all out without you seeing it, but it's basically the opening scene from the movie. And then these are just little postcards. I'll just take it off because it comes off anyway. They're just little character cards, as you can see. Woo, just let them slide. But which is, it kind of fits with what this movie was all about. Sorry, I'm right in front of the camera here, because this movie is kind of like cheesy all American. This does make up a bigger picture in the back. There's no other way to describe it than like kind of cheesy all American is what they're trying to kind of take the mickey out of. I didn't actually realise the first time I was doing, like when I did the pickup video, that the soundtrack came with it. And I'm glad it did, because I'm going to put that on my iPod. I actually really do like the music in it. Watching it again, the Shock Treatment song's really good. The Bedtime Lullaby's really good. And then there's one, I don't think it's this song, but there's a song where she's like talking about how she's changed and it's all about her. I like that song as well. But yeah, second watch for me, really, really enjoyed Shock Treatment. Way better than I remember it being. And definitely think of it a different way. Would recommend that you give it a go, that you watch it, especially if you do like musicals. But watch it for what it is. Don't watch it for a Rocky Horror Picture Show sequel, because it is not a sequel. It's just a different movie that just happens to have some of the characters that were in the first movie in it. And a lot of the same actors. A bit like how American Horror Story will do a new season with the same actors in it, and occasionally the same character will pop up. It's a different story, it just happens to have the same actors and the same characters in it. But yeah, would definitely recommend watching it, especially if you're a fan of musicals. It's not a horror. It's just a funny taking the mickey out of all the American Pie type American lifestyle. I can't think of another way to describe that. I'm sure if somebody else can think of it, they will let me know. But yeah, Arrow's edition of it, really good. Picture quality is amazing, sound quality is amazing. So yeah, would 100% recommend it. And as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about this movie after rewatching it. And take care.